Assalamu alaikum students, this is your instructor Aisha Hussain Khan. Welcome here in the 16th online session of ITSC. Today we'll start with chapter 8 of Pressman book, that is on design concepts. Design concepts. Now you can think of these design concepts as a guiding principles or practices that will help you in making a good quality software or a high quality software. The second point is basically telling you about that design concepts must be understood before the mechanics of design practice are applied. Let me give you an overview here that after the analysis phase, as we have already covered in the chapter 6 and chapter 7, we jump towards the design models. And to make these design models, we have to apply these design concepts. So we first understand these design concepts and then we'll move towards the design model, which will ultimately take you towards the construction phase. Therefore, we can say that design plays a pivotal role towards the successful completion of software engineering process. Here in the last point, I have highlighted few design goals that are firmness, commodity and delight. According to famous Roman architect whose name is Vitruvius, he used these terms for describing a well-designed architecture of a building. We can see the similarity of these concepts with the software product. You can refer these terms for the software product as well. Now, firmness means basically that a program or a software should not have any bug or error that will restrict its functionality. This is what we call a firmness for a software product. Commodity. Commodity means that a program should be suitable for the purpose for which it was intended, like it is completing its purpose. And delight. Delight is basically the experience of using the program should be a pleasurable one for the targeted audience. This slide is basically giving you the recap of the content being discussed in the previous slides. You can visualize here that software requirements, once they have been analyzed and modeled, we can go towards the design model phase. And this software design is basically the last software engineering action within the modeling activity, which we have started from the requirement modeling phase, and it sets the stage for the construction. After this, you directly jump into construction phase. Giving you the illustration that how requirement models are transformed into design model. Also, you can see the flow of information during the system design. Now, as we already familiar with these concepts, we have covered in chapter 6 and 7, like scenario based elements, flow oriented elements, class based elements and behavioral elements. These will be transformed into a design model, and you can see that design model is consisting of 4 layers. The base layer is data and class design, then we top up it with the architectural design, then interface design, and at the very top we have component level design. And also we can relate these concepts to these different layers. Class based elements will assist in data and class designing, and also in architectural design, in which you are supposed to show the entities and associations. Likewise, behavioral elements will help you with the interface designing, showing you the stimulus and response sequences. And scenario based will also help in interface designing and also in the component level designing. Why in the interface designing? Because from here you can easily show the interactions of user with the system. and your flow oriented models they will assist you in architectural design and component level design. Notice one thing, that all of these models will are putting their value in towards the component level designing. Like component will be the combination of all the elements. The requirement model manifested by scenario based, class based and flow oriented models feed the design task. You can see here that we are feeding the design task with these aspects. Now from section 8.4 onwards, we will see design model in detail, and we will also refer to the design elements of each of the design component. We have already seen that the design components have a layered structure, with the base layer is indicating the design and class objects, and at the top of it architectural design we have, and then we have interface designing, and finally we have component level designing. So we will refer to the internal elements of each of the design component. And from this diagram is basically giving you the general overview of the design model. You can see that a design model has two dimensions. On x-axis we can see that we have process dimension and we have abstraction dimension. The process dimension is basically showing you the evolution of design model, how the design model evolved. Like the first part is architectural elements, then we have interface elements, we have component level design elements, and this deployment diagram which is being derived from the component design. And on the y-axis we have abstract design dimension. An abstract dimension giving you the clear-cut view that of the details each analysis model contains. Like the starting with the preliminary diagrams and then moving towards the more detailed diagrams. Analysis model is basically showing you all the analysis diagrams we have covered previously in our 6th and 7th chapter. And this line, dotted line, is divisioning both models, the analysis model and the design model. We can see that in architectural elements we have the class diagrams, we have CRC models, and we have data flow diagrams, we have control flow diagrams and processing narratives, which is being converted to, or you can say being transformed into, design class realization and the subsystem information. Realization is basically giving you the concept of that you will map the components to the interface, you will map these classes to the interfaces, and you are giving more implementation specific details in this section. And this is the design class realization, subsystem information and the specialized diagrams we have here. And then secondly, we use cases text and use cases diagrams, activity diagrams or swim lanes are being transformed into technical interface design. Now you can see the GUI design here. Okay, we are giving the more implementation specific details in our design model, and the base knowledge is the same which we have already gained through analysis models. Like in this part, component level designing, we have all the model details, and these are derived to specialized classes and concepts. Similarly here we can see the specialized concepts, more implementation specific details. Design classes, we have activity diagrams and sequence diagrams. Most of the design elements you can see are in common with the analysis model, and they will serve the base for construction as well. So essentially, starting with the core component of design model, we will study data and class design here, and for this purpose I want you people to recall the concepts of class based models we have already learned in chapter 6. These concepts are refined here to add the concept of design class realization. Now, to understand design class realization, think of the data that is being stored in entities. I've already mentioned that this type of data is persistent in nature, and we have to store such data with the help of database or the data structures. So now our focus will be on the data structures and database, which we will use to store such entity information. Furthermore, you can see that we will apply the concepts of CRC diagram here, and the purpose is to have the knowledge of class attributes and other notations that will provide the basis for data design action. How we can visualize the actions here? Like, we have the knowledge of classes and the collaborators, and basically the collaborators are the source or the providers of the service which the intended class is supposed to have. And so you can visualize that this type of class diagram is the more finer version of the previous diagram we have seen. Architectural design is the second component of design model, in which we are more focused towards the relationship, and these relationships serve as a bond between the structural elements of the software. The architectural design representation basically gives you the framework or a blueprint of a whole system, and we have already seen that it is derived from the requirement models. And the architectural design view of a software is basically equivalent to the architecture of a building. You can think of it as an architecture of a building, which is highlighting you the floor plan, and that floor plan depicts the overall layout of the rooms. In the terms of model, system model, you can see the whole number of classes and their associations, their attributes, and their relationships with each other. So this can be mapped to the architectural model of a house. And this is the architectural design elements that give us the overall view of the system. Here we will discuss about the third component of design model, that is interface design. And you can see here that I've given you the information of the elements of interface design. It includes user interface information, which you can say is a GUI information, graphical user interface, and we have external interface information and internal interface. External is basically portraying the other components or other systems that are interacting with your system, and those systems can be of software in nature or can be a hardware in nature. These are the external links with the other systems that are working with your system, and the internal interfaces, that is internal to your system, and these are the association between the different components of the system or different modules of the system. So we can see that interface design describes how the software communicates with the systems that interoperates with it and with humans who use it. So we have two perspectives here. First is the interaction with other systems, and secondly the interaction with humans. And from this consideration, we can easily find out that usage scenarios and behavioral models will play an important role towards the interface designing. And you can take an example here just of that home architecture example, that we can set the details of drawing and specification for the doors. These are the tiny details that we can have an experience from the behavioral models for the doors, windows, and external utilities of house. And these drawings depict the manner in which the door and windows operate. See the sequence of actions involved here. So this type of information will give you the technical details of interface design. So here we have an example of safe home security function, and we will apply the concept of interface design to it. We can see that we have control panel class that has an interface to other two terminals of wireless PDA and mobile phone via keypad interface, and its attributes like keypad characteristics to handle such operations of read keystroke or decode key are basically passed to this interface that is named through a interface label, and we have mentioned the certain operations here. Notice that for interface class we will mark the interface at the top of it. We will name it as an interface class, and we will put these two brackets outside it to show that it is a stereotype or it is an interface class. And we can show the operations of this class. Also note one thing more, that this interface class is not having the attributes here. We just show the operations involved in it. So this is the visual representation of the interfaces that the control panel is having with wireless PDA and mobile phone, which will further use such information to assist the homeowner in doing the security functions or performing the security functions. This is the last level of our design model, which is component level design, and we can think of it as a collective model that consists of the information back from class-based models, flow models, and behavioral models. And also you should realize that a component is like a module, a full complete specification a module contains, a single module contains. Like here, if we are taking the example of that home architecture, we can see that a set of detailed drawings and specifications for each room in a house. Now we are not looking at the entire architecture and at the entire structure of the house. We are referring to a single room and its all specifications, and also the interactions and the sequence of operations specific to the single module or a component we will discuss. Like here, these drawings depict the wiring and plumbing within each room, the location of electrical receptacles and wall switches, faucets. These are things that are related to a single room or a single component. This example is showing you the component design for the sensor management component. In UML, we show the component through this notation, like a rectangle block with the two small rectangles at its left side and with a small separation between them. Here we write the name of that component. Like in this case, we are having the sensor management as a part of safe home security function, and this dotted line is showing you the association towards this class or the dependency to this class, that is of sensor. And sensor management is responsible for maintaining all the functions of a sensor. Like here you can see the sensor management component performs all functions associated with the safe home sensor, including monitoring and configuring them. So we have encapsulated the entire thing in this component. Rest, we can see that we can put the design details of a component at many different levels of abstraction. Now what does this mean? Basically here you can see that it is the high level view of a sensor management component. You haven't shown the inner details of this component. You can show basically the other internal component, internal entities to this component and their associations within this block. This will be the next level of explanation or next level of detail you can show. Or another thing that you can add is, like if you want to add the procedural flow for a component, you can use the pseudocode or algorithm structure for it as well. You're basically adding more details to a single component or module. For this purpose you can use the UML diagram, or you can add the algorithm or the pseudocode to it.